Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Of the factors that affect the success or failure of your investments, one of the most important is also one of the least visible: fees. When it comes to selecting managed financial investments like retirement plans, mutual funds, exchange-traded funds called ETFs, annuities, private real estate investment trusts, and things of this type, it's really essential to know how much you're going to be charged in fees. Otherwise, you could own a mutual fund or an annuity that has great diversification and invests in high-quality securities, yet still do no better over 20 years than had you stuck your money into the bank and were earning 1% on a certificate of deposit. You could own a private real estate investment trust that owns great properties in AAA locations, yet you still could lose your shirt. Why? All because you didn't pay attention to the fees. Now let me underscore that not paying attention to the fees is really easy to do. In fact, some of those selling these products often do their very best to see that you don't pay attention. It's imperative that you understand the percentages and the dollars in these fees and really grasp how much you're paying. I know not everybody's brain works this way, so it's still something that's so important that you are able to do. The total cost of an investment includes upfront fees, commissions, administration fees, annual management fees and commissions, and transaction fees. So there's a lot of fees involved here. This information is going to be offered very, very seldom. So you need to ask a lot of questions. And sometimes even when you ask, the salesperson may sidestep the question, not know the answer, or give you the wrong information. So this can be kind of daunting, but it's critical that you do. Let me give you two examples that I was recently asked about. In the first one, a woman had been advised to put her $1 million 401k rollover into a variable annuity sold by a well-known established financial firm. She was told there were no fees. Here's what I discovered with a little research. The upfront commission was 4%. The annual fee paid to the advisor salesperson was 1.5%. The annual administrative fee was $50, and there was an insurance fee of 0.50 or 0.5%. No services were provided other than the administrative tasks of sending the investment statements. The charge for the underlying managers that actually manage the funds in the annuity ranged from 0.8% to 1.65%, with an average fee of around 1.3%. Now, the good news is there were no transaction fees. So the total first-year costs were 7.3%, and the annual ongoing costs were 3.3%. On $1 million, that was $73,000 the first year and $33,000 a year thereafter. Now, you're not going to build much of a retirement portfolio when you're paying those kind of fees. In a diversified portfolio, you may over a long period of time only be earning 5 or 6%. So if you're paying 3.3% of that in fees, you may not even keep up with inflation. The second example is a man with $3 million in his investment portfolio. And he was told he could reduce his investment advisory costs from 0.75% to 0.25% by changing advisors. He figured, wow, this is going to save him 0.5%. That's $15,000 a year. A more complete comparison revealed this. There were no upfront commissions with his current advisor or proposed advisor. The annual advisory fees were indeed 0.75% with his current fee-only advisor and 0.25% with the proposed advisor. That was true. The services, though, were quite different. The services provided by the fee-only advisor were comprehensive financial planning, where the investment portion was only 1/6 of the whole pie. The proposed advisor only did investment advice with some ancillary retirement planning scenarios. Here's where there is a big difference. The annual expense ratio fees were 0.55% with his current advisor and 1.55% with the proposed investor. And this is the part that is rarely seen. Miscellaneous fees were none with the current investor, about $300 a year with the current advisor, about $300 a year with the proposed. And the transaction fees with his current advisor were $10 per trade. It was $0 with the proposed advisor. So when you add all that together, I know that's a lot of numbers. He was paying his current advisor 1.3% for both their advice and the fund expense ratio costs, 1.3%, plus a few $100s a year in transaction fees, and receiving full financial planning, which, as I said, includes things like investment advisory, tax planning, estate planning, insurance planning, retirement planning, asset protection, and cash flow advice. The proposed advisor would cost him 1.8% all in, plus $300 a year in various fees for just investment advice. Now, this actually ended up being 0.5% more a year, not 0.5% less as it originally appeared. Now, how big a difference is 0.5% a year on $3 million? Well, it's a savings of $15,000. So instead of saving $15,000 a year as he originally thought, he would actually have spent $15,000 more a year for greatly reduced services. That's a swing of $30,000 a year, which would have decreased his retirement portfolio by about $1 million over 20 years. That's assuming an average return of 5.5%. So the bottom line, fees matter. Even small seeming fee differences make a big difference. Fees matter. Thanks for listening.